Hey guys, it's me Crystal from Marching North. Today I'm going to show you how to make this super warm cozy scarf using this long knitting loom. This one has 26 pegs. We actually only use 24 of them because we don't use the 2 on the ends. I'm going to show you how to knit the scarf, and then I'll also show you how to add some fun fringe to the ends. If you don't want to add the fringe, that's totally fine. It's totally optional, but I'll show you how to add it at the end. My scarf ended up being about 80 inches or 83 inches long. It stretches a lot, so it's kind of hard to say. But because I wanted a really nice long scarf that I could wrap around a couple times. You could also make it shorter if you want to, and then you'll need less yarn. So I used Hometown yarn, and I used the color Dallas Gray, which is it's a really bulky yarn. It's a size 6 super bulky yarn. As for how much yarn I used, at first I used 2 skeins of it, and they were 81 yards per skein. This is the label from that. And then whenever I wanted it to be a little bit longer, so I had to order some more yarn. And when I went to Michael's to pick it up, they had given me this bonus bundle, which is twice as much yarn. It's 162 yards, so twice as much as my first skein. So I'm not 100% sure if I used 3 of the regular skeins, but this is how much I had left over after I was done. So I think you could get away with 3 normal size skeins of this yarn that are 81 yards each, but you might want to pick up 4 just in case, or if you get one of these bonus bundles, it's 162 yards. I would say if you get 2 of these, you'll be good. I didn't count rows for this because it's long, and I don't like counting rows for things like that because I lose count constantly. So I went by measurement instead. All right, let's get started. First, we're going to attach our yarn to our loom using a slip knot. So just hold on to the end of the yarn and wrap it around your 2 fingers. And then you're going to bring it around behind your fingers and pull the end of the yarn through that loop. Then you're just going to slide that other loop off your fingers, and you pull both the loop and the 2 ends of your yarn to tighten it up. Then you're going to slip that loop over the little peg at the end and pull on the long end of the yarn to tighten it up. We're going to be going in a zigzag pattern across, back and forth. So first we're going to go around the peg on the left, then you go around the peg on the right, and then repeat that going around the one on the left and then on the right. And it's kind of this figure 8 pattern going back and forth across the loom. And you're going to repeat that going all the way down. We're skipping the pegs on the very end of the loom, so just the ones that are across from each other. Alright, now we've wrapped them all, so now you're going to push all of the yarn down to the bottom of the pegs. Now to go back, we're going to just have 1 loop on that first peg, and then you're going to wrap again around the peg across from that one, and then start your figure 8 again, going back the other direction. Okay, so now we've made it all the way across twice. Take your hook and pull the bottom loop up over the top loop. And you're just going to repeat that for each peg going across on this side. Do one side, and then you're going to flip it around, and you'll have 1 peg that just has 1 loop, so just don't worry about that one. And continue going down, bringing all the bottom loops up and over the top loop. Then you're going to push all the loops down to the bottom of the pegs again. And now, since we did our first row, we're going to go ahead and undo the slip knot holding it on that peg because you won't need that anymore. And then you're just going to continue making your rows. So you always skip your first peg that you're coming off of, and you just continue wrapping in the figure 8 going all the way down. And then I wrap it around that end peg just to kind of hold it while I pull the loops up off of the peg, the bottom loops up off the peg. And that is all there is to it. You're just going to repeat this until you run out of yarn and have to add more yarn, which I will show you how to do next. After you do a couple of rows, you can go ahead and feed that starting end down through the bottom, and this is where your scarf will start to emerge. And you're just going to continue doing this until you run out of yarn, and I will meet you back here and show you how to tie on some new yarn. Alright, so I've been working on my scarf for a while, and I have come to the end of my first skein of yarn. So you can see this is about how long it is so far. Definitely not quite long enough for a scarf yet, but we're getting there. So here I have my next skein, and this is another one of the regular size 81 yard skeins, by the way. So you're just going to take your old end and your new end of your yarn and tie them together in a nice secure knot. So pull on it really good, make sure it's nice and tight. And then just once you know it's nice and tight, you're just going to cut the ends off here just pretty close to the knot. You don't have to worry about it coming undone because it's going to be kind of woven into the scarf. And then you just go back to your wrapping like you were doing, and you see here's the knot, and I'm just acting like it's not even there. Just continue wrapping like normal, and then whenever you go to knit off, just make sure you knit over the knot if it's kind of in the way like this one. I just made sure I put the loop up over the knot. And then you just continue on like normal. It's really easy to add on more yarn. Just anytime you run out, just tie the two ends together and it'll end up hidden inside the scarf, so you don't have to worry about it. So just continue on, and then I'll show you how long it ends up being after 2 skeins and then the finished length. Alright, this is after 2 skeins of yarn, and it ended up being about 47.5 inches long. Then I added about half of the bonus bundle skein and ended up with approximately 73 inches, but it actually ended up being more like 80 because of the stretchiness. Now I'm going to show you how to bind off. So what we're going to do is take one loop and we're going to bring it over to this peg here, bring that bottom loop up and through and onto the next peg, and we're going to go in this zigzag pattern like this. So grab that first loop with your hook and you're just going to pull it off the peg, and then you're going to stick it on this peg right in front of it. Then you're going to take the hook down through that top loop and hook the bottom loop and bring it up and through, and you're going to bring the whole thing off the peg. And make sure you keep that one loop on your hook. So bring all of it off of the peg, and then you're going to put the loop that's on your hook on the next peg across. Then you're going to do that same thing. You're going to bring your hook down through the top loop and hook the bottom loop, pull it up and through, and then pull the whole thing off the peg again. And then you're going to take that loop that's on your hook across to the peg that's in front of it. Then again, you're just going to slide your hook down through the top loop and hook the bottom loop and pull it up and through and everything off the peg. And then you're just going to repeat that going across in that zigzag pattern all the way down until you just have one loop left on your peg, and then I'll show you what to do next. Alright, when you get to your last one, you're going to go ahead and pull it through just like you normally have been, but just make sure you keep that last loop on your hook, and then just remove the loom and get it out of your way. And you're going to go ahead and cut your yarn with leaving a tail maybe like 6 or 7 inches. And then you're going to grab a hold of that loop and you're going to pull the end of the yarn through the loop that was on your hook. And then you're going to grab your large eye needle and thread your end onto it. And I like to just tie a little knot here in the corner just to make everything secure. And then you can weave the end through some of the stitches on the end of the scarf and just pull it through and trim off your excess yarn. So you're going to notice that the starting end of your scarf is a lot stretchier and wider than the ending end, and I'm going to show you how to get rid of some of that excess slack on the first side to make it look a little more even. So here's our starting end where the yarn is coming out there in the corner, and we're actually going to start over on the opposite corner of this side. And we're going to start pulling the stitches to get rid of some of that slack. So you just pull on one, and then you got to figure out which stitch on the other side is connected to. And you're just going to go back and forth doing that all the way down until you get rid of all the slack you can. So you just pull on one side, and then you find the other loop on the other side that corresponds to it, and you pull that going all the way back towards where that beginning end of our yarn is. It's a little tricky to tell which loops you need to pull, but you just kind of gently pull on one and see if it's the right one, and if it's not, then try a different one. That's what I did. But if you do this, you are going to get rid of a lot of that slack. And you'll see by the time you get to the end, you have this huge loop of excess slack. See how huge it is? So, but the cool thing is, once you get all the way to the other end, you can just pull on the tail and get rid of all of that excess slack from that end, and it will make it look a lot less gigantic on that side. So then you're just going to thread that end of the yarn onto the needle again, and just like we did a minute ago, I just threaded it through to tie a little knot just to secure it in place. And then you can weave the end through a few stitches here on this side. Okay, now for the fun part, I'm going to show you how to make your fringe in a really easy way with your loom. So just hold your end on one end of the loom, and you're going to wrap all the way around all the pegs like this, and just keep wrapping and wrapping and wrapping, and each wrap will be one piece of fringe. You'll need 48 pieces of fringe all together, but you won't be able to do it all at once. You'll just have to do it in a few batches. But then you just cut all the yarn right here at the top, and you'll have some nice evenly sized pieces of fringe ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to attach it. So I just took a crochet hook, and I took 2 pieces of the fringe and made sure the ends were even. Then you're just going to stick the crochet hook into the rightmost corner of this end of the scarf and hook those 2 pieces of fringe and pull them through. And then I just pulled the 2 ends of it through so it was sticking out like this. Make sure the ends are even, and then you're just going to tie an overhand knot to secure it into place. Then you're just going to tighten that knot up down close to the scarf and pull on all the ends of the yarn to make sure it's evenly tight. And that is one piece of fringe attached, and you're going to continue that across. Just make sure you're doing it at the end of each row. So there's going to be 12 rows on each side. So you're going to put 12 bundles of fringe on each side. And each bundle has 2 pieces, so it'll be 24 pieces of fringe on each side of the scarf. So this is the last bundle of fringe over on this side, and here's how it looks so far. And it's a little uneven, but we'll fix that in a minute, and I'm just going to repeat that on the other side of the scarf. Alright, so now we have the fringe done on both ends of our scarf, and I'm just going to stack the 2 sides together and give the fringe a little bit of a trim to even it up a bit. And now your scarf is complete. I just love the scarf. The fringe is super cute, and the scarf is really thick and warm and stretchy and cozy, and it's just a really great pattern, and it's so easy to make. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you did, please leave a like, comment, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of my future videos. Thanks for watching!